Hey, this is Mark Williams of Swine Like Barbecue. With St. Patrick's Day right around the corner, we got a Boston butt here we're gonna use to make a pulled pork Reuben sandwich. We're gonna put all the flavors in our Mississippi grit that really go with that Reuben, and then we're gonna top it with some sauerkraut and a little bit of a Russian dressing. I'm not a fan of Thousand Island, so this is my twist on it. We're gonna add a lot of savory, a lot of spice. You know it's gonna be a good sandwich. Let's get started. So the first thing we have to do is trim this butt. Now what we're gonna do is just take off a little bit of fat because I don't want all that fat to render and make that sauerkraut greasy when we add it once we wrap. So the first thing we're gonna do is trim the fat cap side. I'm gonna leave some of this pork fat on here just because you can't have a butt without leaving a little bit of that fat on. All we're gonna do is just shave it down to about a 1/4 inch trim. That way most of it renders and it's not gonna be much left over once we get ready to build this sandwich. You need a good sharp knife because this pork fat sometimes can be aggravating to trim off. Just kind of shape it up. If some of this exposes that meat, that's fine. And I know you can see some of these striations right here. There's still a fat layer under that. That's kind of like what they call a false cap. So there's still plenty of fat underneath that meat. If you see anything off the edge that you just kind of want to square up. Now I want to build as much bark on the top side of this butt as I can. So I'm going to expose a little bit more of this meat. Now most of this, you see these fat striations here, that's gonna render and cook down once we wrap this butt. So we're gonna leave that in there. And I'm gonna call that good. We're ready to get some rub on it. To get this rub made that's gonna really complement and go with those good Reuben flavors, we're gonna start off with 1 cup of our Mississippi grit. Now you can use a 50-50 mixture of salt and pepper or whatever rub you would like. You just wanna kind of stick to that salt, pepper, garlic flavor profile. So we'll get the lid off. What I have here is a tablespoon of ground coriander. Have 1 tablespoon of ground clove, 1 tablespoon of crushed red pepper. I want to bring in a little bit of that heat, and we got 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Same thing, it's going to add another layer of texture and bring in some more heat. We'll get it in the shaker, get the lid on it, get it mixed up good, and that's ready to go on the butt. So we have our rub we mixed up. I'm going to start on the fat side first, just because this is going to go fat side down, and we're going to go pretty heavy. This is a pretty good sized Boston butt, so it can handle all the spice and all the salt. We're not gonna use a binder. You can if you'd like, but this salt and what little bit of sugar's in here, it's gonna start pulling that moisture out. It's gonna adhere to that butt really well. I can already smell the clove. Man, it smells good. Of course, you can see the red pepper flakes add a good color. Get it flipped over. This is where we really wanna build a bark. When we get ready to make this sandwich, we wanna be able to pull and mix in that bark, and it's gonna add a lot of flavor to that pulled meat. Make sure to get all your edges, and that'll do it. So we're out here at the Grill-A-Grill's Chimp. I got it set at 235. We're gonna let the pit do all the work. Once we get this butt on, we're not gonna look at it for about 5 hours, get a good bark built, and then we'll be ready to wrap. So we'll get it placed in here. We're running pecan pellets today. Should add a really good balanced smoke flavor. We'll get the lid shut, and we'll check on it in about 5 hours. So to make this Russian dressing, we're gonna start off with 1 cup of mayo. We got 1 tablespoon of finely chopped onion, a 1/4 cup of chili sauce, 1 heaping tablespoon of horseradish, a teaspoon of your favorite hot sauce, a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and then salt and pepper to taste, usually about a teaspoon. And then we'll get this mixed up. Now this is very similar to Thousand Island dressing, except you don't have the sweet relish, and it's really just a more of a savory, kind of spicy Thousand Island. Once you get this mixed up, go ahead and place it back in the fridge. That way these flavors will start working, and that'll give us time to finish this pork butt. So this butt's been on here for 5 hours. Let's see what kind of color and bark we got. So as you can tell, it's got a good dark color. The rub's tacked up real good. We're gonna go ahead and get this off the pit. We'll get it on the cutting board, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna wrap it up to really get those good flavors working with that sauerkraut. So we've got this butt off the pit. I've placed it in this aluminum pan. This isn't your standard steam pan. It's got a little bit taller size. That way, once we get all this juice from the sauerkraut in here, it'll keep it from overflowing. So what I'm gonna do, we have this sauerkraut here. It's just your standard canned sauerkraut. We did preheat it just so it's not cold when it goes on this hot butt. We're gonna get it poured around the edges. Now what this is gonna do is as this butt cooks, it renders some more of that fat. It's gonna mix in with this kraut, and it's just gonna add a great flavor. And then I'm gonna come back with a little bit more rub that we mixed up earlier, hit the top of the butt, and then get a little bit on the kraut as well, and then we'll get it covered in foil. So we got this pan back on the pit. I got a ThermoWorks dot. I'm gonna go ahead and get placed in here. Go in that thickest part. Now that we got it wrapped, I'm gonna go ahead and bump the temp up to 300. And at this point, we're just cooking the temp. I'm gonna take this butt to about 198. That way it'll be full and super tender, and then we'll be ready to build a sandwich shortly. So our ThermoWorks dot's telling us this pork butt's done. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the probe we have here and just kind of give it a feel. It feels good and soft, good and tender. So we'll get this inside and let it rest for a few minutes, and then we'll get it plated up and show you how we're gonna build this Reuben. We've let this butt and sauerkraut rest for about an hour. We got it placed in this bowl, kind of presented it with all the kraut around the edges. That way, just in case you have any guests that don't like kraut, they can still get them a good sandwich. Just as a quick recap, we start off with an 8-pound pork butt. We took our very own Mississippi grit and added some spices to it to really wake up them flavors and complement a Reuben sandwich really well. We got the butt out there on the pit, let it get a good bargain. We wrapped it. We added about 32 ounces of sauerkraut, put it in there with that pork butt, and of course all that pork fat rendered down really gave this sauerkraut a really good flavor. While all that was going on, we made our homemade Russian dressing. It's gonna really top this sandwich and really wake them flavors up. So let's build this pulled pork Reuben. First thing I gotta do, just like any cook with a pork butt, you gotta make sure their internal thermometer is done. So we're gonna grab this bone, pull it out of the way. Of course it come clean. We'll set that to the side. Now let's get a sandwich built. So I'm gonna take 2 slices of this rye bread, get a good dose of this Russian dressing, get it spread around. Same thing on the top side. Of course, you gotta break this pork butt down. I would leave it in its whole form as you're serving and let the guests pull as they need. So we're just gonna get in here and get some of this pulled pork broke up. Of course, you know up here on this money muscle end, packed full of moisture. And I'm gonna do larger chunks just so it'll have a little bit more texture in the sandwich. Get some of that good bark mixed in there. Oh man, this smells awesome. And once we get us a big pile of that pulled pork, we'll take some of this sauerkraut and get it placed on top. Take a couple pieces of Swiss cheese. And then top it off with that other slice. That's a good looking Reuben. So we'll go ahead and cut it right down the middle. If they ain't a good looking Reuben, I don't know what is. So we're gonna have to give us a try. I know it's gonna be messy. Wow, you get all the flavors of that pork, a good smoke. Those spices really shine through in that bark. You get a little bit of that clove, get a good pepper note, and that Russian dressing. That's no joke, that is awesome. Have to give me a bite like that. I know I'm wearing it. That sauerkraut, even if you're not a big fan of sauerkraut, it's not real strong. That fat from that pork rendered down and really just kind of mellowed out that flavor. It's a heck of a sandwich. That's a wrap for today at Swine Life. We appreciate y'all checking this video out. St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, and this is a go-to recipe out there on the pit. If y'all got any questions, shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram, and as always, like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see y'all next time.